Damn, son, that's a big twist.
How's it going, guys? In this video, I'm going to teach you how to seal twist as quickly and as simply as possible. So this is sort of an addendum to my last seal twisting guide, which was much longer and much more comprehensive. But for this video, we are only going to be covering double judge seal twisting, which is a new type of seal twisting that you can now do in phase 7. It will be very familiar to anybody who twisted last phase in AQ, as it's basically cancel judging, but without a cancel or a macro. Okay, so the first thing we need is 2 pieces of tier 2 draconic gear. This will prevent judgment from consuming our seals, and it will allow us to double judge 2 seals at the same time. The next thing that we're going to need is either the draconic 4 set bonus, or we need the Soul of the Judicator shoulder enchant. This will give us a 3-second judgment cooldown. The next thing that we're going to need is a bunch of different macros. The first is just a macro that says stop attack. Bind this to something that's easy to press. This will be important later on. Next, we're going to replace both of our seals with a start attack macro. Do this for both martyrdom and command. The modifier at the end makes it so that if you hold down control, it won't start attack. This part is optional, but it will be useful later on. If you want to save a keybind, you can instead use a macro like this. It will simply alternate between both seals, and it'll also prevent you from ever twisting the same seal that you're already in. Next, we need to replace all of our abilities with a stop attack macro. Once again, there's an optional modifier so that if you hold down control, it will not stop attack. Don't forget to add the brackets with @target before the ability. This is very important. Now, there are many benefits to using these stop attack macros. The primary benefit is to prevent our swing timer from resetting. When our abilities trigger an extra attack like wild strikes, our swing timer will reset to 0. This is bad because it makes the rotation chaotic and unpredictable. It delays our next seal twist, and we have now lost a partial melee swing because all of that progress that we made on our swing timer to the next attack is now reset to 0. So instead, we're going to use these macros to store the extra attack until our next melee attack, which is going to be our next seal twist. There is a WEAKAURA in the description that will track how many stored extra attacks you have. The limit is 4. These extra attacks will be spent and go off the next time you melee, so make sure that you are twisting into them. Additionally, when you have these attacks stored, you can actually lose them in different ways. One of the most common ways is by starting and then stopping your attack before you spend them. When you start your attack, you have to spend them and commit, otherwise they will vanish. This is why it's really good to have that option in the seal macro that I showed earlier, so that you can hold down control and put up a seal without starting your attack. For example, if you wanted to set up an instant twist, but you don't have any seals up. If you put up your seal and start your attack, well, now you can't stop your attack or you lose the extra attacks that you have stored. And this means that you can't stop your attack in order to go into melee range and instant twist, which we will talk more about instant twisting later in the video. The terminology that most people use for this is that your extra attack was munched. Some other ways that you can munch your stored attacks is by switching your talents, switching your gear, zoning into a new location, or even hardcasting a spell like a Holy Light. The final and most important thing that we will need is a swing timer. We will use the swing timer to tell us when to twist our seals and when to cast our spells. In the description, you will find the swing timer WEAKAURA that I specifically created for seal twisting. The swing timer is broken down into 3 different sections. The first section is the filler window. This is where we're going to use all of our abilities like Crusader Strike, Divine Storm, and Exorcism. The filler window starts at the beginning and goes all the way to the red tick marker. During the filler window, the swing timer will turn blue. The second section is the danger zone. Once you're in the danger zone, you cannot cast any spells or else you will not be able to seal twist. However, we're pretty much always on the global cooldown when we're in the danger zone, so you're not going to be able to cast spells anyway. During the danger zone, the swing timer will turn red. The final section is the twisting window. This is the final 0.4 seconds before your melee swing. If we use a second seal during this window, we will successfully seal twist. It starts at the first green tick marker and goes all the way to the end of the swing. If your swing is ready or inside the twist window, the swing timer will turn green. There is also a second green tick marker that we are going to use to do a late twist in order to double judge. When you twist into a second seal, your initial or prep seal will have its duration changed to 0.4 seconds. This is why the twist window is 0.4 seconds. because that's the amount of time that we can have 2 seals active. But in order to do a double judge, we need our seals to both linger after the melee swing so that we have time to press judgment. In order to make the seals linger, we are going to twist late, as in after the second green tick marker. The later that we twist, the longer the seals will linger after the attack. Additionally, we are going to have stop attack on our judgment macro, and we don't want to use that macro before the melee swing, otherwise we will prevent the attack from going off. So the later you twist, the sooner you can press judgment afterwards. This will minimize the window for error between your seal twist and your melee attack. Additionally, it's not possible for you to miss a twist by twisting too late. The worst you can do is slightly delay the twist. That's because those stop attack macros that we created earlier have stopped your attack, and your attack will not start back up until you twist. In essence, we've taken the auto out of the auto attack. So these macros will protect you from missing your twist by being too late. If you're a little bit too early, then your second seal will expire before you press judgment. As a result, you will get a single judge instead of a double judge. If you're really early and you twist before the twist window, then your second seal will expire before the melee attack. If you're a little bit too late and you're using the stop attack macro, you'll still successfully twist and double judge. It'll just be slightly delayed. So as you're learning, just focus on twisting late. This is really the key to this entire rotation. If you twist late, you don't even need to precisely time your judgment. I don't even time my judgment. All I do is twist late and then I press judgment, and it always works 100% of the time. And that's exactly what the second green tick marker is there for. As long as you aim to twist after that marker, you will twist late, and you can almost immediately press judgment afterwards. Okay, so let's open up /WA in game to go to the WEAKAURA settings, and you'll see the swing timer here after you've imported it. And you're going to come down to the main hand swing bar, and now in the display tab, you can see all 3 of our tick markers on the swing timer. Okay, tick 1 is 0.4 seconds until melee swing, so that's the first green tick. Tick 2 is 0.2 seconds until the end of the swing. That's our late twist tick. And tick 3 is 1.525. It's around 1.5. There's a little bit of a buffer added. That's the red tick, right? Color red. So we don't actually need the first tick marker if we're going to double judge. So if you want, you can just disable this. If that helps you, go ahead and just disable it. Now, if you have high latency, and you can absolutely seal twist at high latency. So what I'm going to show you is how to adjust the tick marker based on your latency. And I know people that have 300 milliseconds of latency and they seal twist perfectly. They get 99 parses. It's not a problem for them. All you have to do is adjust the tick marker for your personal latency. So figure out what your latency is, and then we're going to convert it to a decimal of seconds, right? So 1.0 would be 1 second. 0.2 is 200 milliseconds. You get the picture. So take your latency, and we're going to subtract 50. And why are we doing that? Because that is a buffer that accounts for server latency. So server latency is the amount of time it takes the server to process something and send the information back to you. And it's around 50 milliseconds, usually a little bit higher, but we're going to stick to 50. So if you have 100 milliseconds of ping, let's say your ping is 100. You're going to convert that to a decimal, right? So that would be 0.1. Okay, and now subtract 50, and you get 0.05, right? 50 milliseconds is 0.05 seconds, okay? And we're going to add these together. So now we get 0.25. That's your new tick placement. Hit OK. It will move the tick, and now you've adjusted for your 100 milliseconds of latency. So let's say you have 200 milliseconds of latency, okay? We're going to add 0.2, subtract 50, 0.15. Now let's go ahead and add these together. 0.35. That's your new tick placement. As long as you aim for that tick, you can seal twist at any latency, and it's exactly the same. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is the sound cue. If you don't want to look at the swing timer as often, you can use the sound cue. So for our purposes, double judging, we need to use the late twist sound cue. So we'll click on that and we'll turn that on. Now this is at 0.2, which is the default, but let's say you have, high ping, like you said earlier, and you need to adjust it. So this condition number 3 in the conditions tab is the sound cue. Okay. Now it's 0.2 plus 0.1 because there's like 100 milliseconds at the beginning of the sound file before the bell dings. So if you want to adjust this for your latency as well to make sure the sound cue is at the right place, then you can just add, like I showed you before, to this condition number 3, just add to this 0.3. So let's say you have 100 milliseconds of ping and you added, 0.05 to your tick marker. We'll just go ahead and add that here too, right? 0.05. Go ahead and add that here as well, and you'll get 0.35. Hit OK, and it'll be adjusted for your latency as well. So if you turn the sound cue on, it will ding. Not only does it change colors, the swing timer, based on where you're at, and you can kind of see this in the corner of your eye without looking at the swing timer, but it'll also ding. So you don't have to look at the swing timer at all. It will ding for you when it's time to twist, which will be very helpful for anybody who struggles to do fight mechanics and seal twist. So now that everything is set up, we can go ahead and start seal twisting. Let's look at the rotation. This is a rhythm-based rotation. It goes step by step, and every single time you do a melee swing, it will repeat. So step number 1 is to seal twist command or martyrdom. You'll either have command or martyrdom already active, and then you will twist into the opposite seal in the last 0.2 seconds of your swing timer, aiming for that second green tick marker we set up earlier or after. Right after the seal twist, we're going to press judgment. You want this to land after the melee attack, but before either seal expires. This should double judge both of your seals at the same time. Next, we have our filler window, which gives us time for one spell. We're going to use a simple priority list to know what spell to use in the filler window. This is for single target. Top priority, Crusader Strike, then Divine Storm, and then our bottom priority is Exorcism. Until you get 6-piece tier 3, you'll be using Soul of the Templar, and you'll want to make sure that you Crusader Strike while in Martyrdom. The tier 3 6-piece bonus converts your critical strike chance against undead into damage done against undead. This benefits Exorcism a lot more than anything else because it has an extra 100% crit chance against undead. Against regular enemies, Divine Storm, number 1 prio, then Crusader Strike, then Exorcism. But against undead enemies, Divine Storm, then Exorcism, then Crusader Strike, which we will be using a lot less frequently. In order to use 6-piece tier 3, we will need to replace 4-piece tier 2, and we will instead switch our shoulder enchant to Soul of the Judicator to give us that 3-second judgment cooldown. So here's an example of how the double judge rotation will play out. Start by twisting into Martyrdom with a double judge, then we Crusader Strike in the filler window, then we twist into Command with a double judge, then we Divine Storm in the filler window, then we twist into Martyrdom again with a double judge, then we Crusader Strike in the filler window, then we twist into Command with another double judge, and then we Exorcism in the filler window. So we're always doing one twist with a judge, one filler, repeat. For AoE, all we need to do is change our spell priority in the filler window. We're still going to do a filler, and then a twist plus a double judge, and then repeat. Now, the AoE spell priority is very fluid, and it will change with your set bonuses, how many enemies are present, and if they're undead or not. The 2-set bonus for tier 3 makes Divine Storm a lot stronger. The 4-set bonus makes Holy Wrath instant cast and no longer resets the swing timer. And the 6-set bonus makes all of these spells do a lot more damage against undead, except for Consecration. Holy Wrath is only worth casting if you have the 4-set bonus or if it's an extremely large pool. Both Consecration and Holy Wrath will get better and better the more mobs there are, and Exorcism will be weaker than Crusader Strike without the 6-set bonus. With that being said, Divine Storm is almost always the top priority spell, especially with the 2-set and 6-set bonus from tier 3. If you have the 4-set bonus, Holy Wrath will be your second priority, especially if you need to stun any undead enemies. Next, if the enemies are not undead or you don't have the 6-set bonus, then Exorcism and Crusader Strike will switch places, just like on single target. Consecration is generally the lowest priority, especially if the enemies are undead and you have the 6-set bonus. But if you don't, or the enemies are not undead and there's a lot of them, it can climb as high as 3rd. There's just way too many different situations for there to be one AoE priority that is always the best. So use your best judgment based on your set bonuses, how many enemies there are, and are they undead. And if you really want to do the best AoE damage, you'll need to have this trinket. So now I'm going to perform the rotation for you, and I will also record the sound of my keys so you can hear the timing of my seal twist and the judge afterward.
Sick twists.
Hopefully that was helpful in letting you see the rotation and hear the timing of the judge. I'm pretty much going to judge right after my seal twist. I'm not rushing it super fast, but I am pressing it right after my seal twist. I'm also focusing on twisting late, right at that tick or afterwards. Do a filler spell, I wait till that green tick, and then I seal twist and judge. I do another filler spell, I wait until that green tick, and then I seal twist and judge. Now it's important that you spell queue your filler spells, especially if you are very close to a 3.0 swing speed. And to spell queue your filler spells, all you have to do is press them a little bit before they are actually ready, and then it will queue them up to be instantly cast once your global cooldown is complete. This will prevent there from being any gaps in between your global cooldowns. When your swing speed is close to 3.0, everything you do will be spell queued, and this makes it really easy to not screw up the timing, because the moment your global cooldown is ready, it's time for you to seal twist. Now, seal twisting has a haste cap. 3.0 attack speed is the fastest that you can attack and still fit 2 global cooldowns, your seal twist, and your filler spell in every single melee swing. Haste is really good when you're above the cap. You want to get as close as you can to 3.0 attack speed, which is your judgment cooldown, as you can without going under it. All of our damage comes at the rate of our melee swing, so 1% more haste means that everything you do happens 1% more frequently. If you go below 3.0 speed, it means that your melee swing will be ready before your global cooldown. When this happens, we will simply do stop attack twisting. Thanks to our stop attack macros that we set up earlier, our auto attack will wait for our seal twist. So simply wait for your global cooldown to be ready and then press your seal twist. That way you can keep doing your rotation uninterrupted every 3 seconds. Now, stop attack twisting under the haste cap is not the same as 3.0 speed regular seal twisting, because you have to wait to see your global cooldown is ready and then react. If you accidentally do it early, then you will attack before you cast a seal. So you will actually be adding a small delay there, and you'll probably be twisting around once every 3.2 seconds. So it's very important to stay above that 3.0 speed. The swing timer comes with an attack speed tracker, and anytime you're under 3.0 speed, it will turn red. This is to warn you that you are actually haste capped and you will need to do stop attack twisting. The last thing we need to cover is the instant twist. If our swing is ready, we can twist an enemy the moment we enter melee range. Because of this, we are certified ad-killing machines, and we have the best front-loaded burst damage of any class in the game, by far. You will absolutely carry the raid on an ad-heavy fight like Gothic the Harvester here. Utilizing instant twists is the key component for doing really good damage and performing well when you switch targets a lot or have lots of movement and downtime. The second you get back into melee range or get on your new enemy, you're going to instant twist them for a huge burst of damage. New players often make the mistake where they switch to a new target and they run all the way over to it and they open up with a filler, and their swing is ready. So because of the stop attack macros, your swing is just standing there, hanging, waiting for you to twist. You should always open up with an instant twist unless for some reason your swing is still in the filler window. Anytime you stop your rotation, you start it back up with an instant twist. Luckily, the instant twist maneuver is extremely easy to do. Additionally, you'll be able to double judge immediately after the instant twist, and it will always work 100% of the time. Step number 1, just make sure that you have a seal active. Doesn't matter which one, just make sure that you have at least one seal already active. If you do need to prepare a seal for an instant twist, try to get into the habit of putting it up without starting your attack. If you're using the macros that we set up earlier, all you need to do is hold down control when you press your seal. Step number 2 is just to make sure that you're not attacking. If needed, use the manual stop attack macro that we set up at the beginning to stop your attack. Just take note that if you do this at this point, you will munch any extra attacks that you might have stored. If your auto attack is not stopped when you enter melee range, then the attack is going to go off before you ever get to press your seal. Step number 3, enter melee range and face your target. Positioning is very important here. If you're standing at max melee range, all the enemy has to do is take a half a step forward before you're out of range, and you whiff the twist. Make sure as well that they're directly in front of you, so if they step to the side, that you're not going to miss the twist. Movement is also very important here. Make sure that if the enemy starts moving, that you move with them. The fourth and final step is to simply twist seal number 2. This should be the opposite of the seal that you cast in step number 1 or the seal that you already had active. If you started out in command, twist martyrdom, etc. Thanks to the start attack macros that we set up at the beginning for both of our seals, you will cast a seal and instantly attack, and therefore successfully instant twisting the enemy. Additionally, targeting the target that you choose is also very important here, and not just when you do an instant twist, it's important anytime you do a twist. Because a twist has the potential to do so much damage at once, you want to make sure that you're going to twist into an enemy with enough health to take it. Otherwise, all of that damage is just going to get lost to overkill. Every time you instant twist, you should follow it up with a double judge. Press judgment immediately after every instant twist and it will always work. Okay, so if we don't already have a seal up, first we put up a seal, then we make sure that we're not attacking, then we go into melee range, and then we twist.
Sick twists.
So it looks like it's been about 20 minutes, and now you have a complete understanding of how to seal twist while double judging. This is the most powerful way to play Paladin right now, not to mention the most fun, by far. For anybody out there who thinks that they probably won't enjoy seal twisting, I would highly recommend giving it another try. You never know until you try it. It is easier and more fun and more powerful than it has ever been before. All of the information from today's video can also be found on my WOWHEAD rotation guide. It also has a copy of all of the macros from the beginning of the video. The link to the guide and all of the weak auras from the video are in the description. Thanks to all my patrons who support the channel: Purple Duckbutt, Juan93A, Dark Knight, Trev728, Kitty Exorcism, Dalron the Mad / Sunbeef, Splode, Project Remy, Athens, and Turd Wizard.
This show was brought to you by Light Club, where monkeys go to church.